Hello, my name is Brandon Bayer, and most of you already know me, but I'm an IB senior at Palmer High School. Ever since about 5 years ago, I really have been intrigued with the outdoors and climbing and hiking and mountains, and very recently I've gotten into climbing 14ers and summiting them and looking into hopefully completing all 56 of the recognized 14ers sometime in the next decade. Um, Through my curiosity towards the 14ers, I've stumbled across the speed record for climbing all originally 52, now 56 of the 14ers as quickly as you can. So I guess I will just go through and explain a brief history of the Colorado 14er speed record. This speed record involves all the 14ers in Colorado. These 14ers can start off with some that are very easy, such as Pikes Peak or Mount Elbert. They're considered class 1. Really all it is just a strenuous hike, no need for climbing or your hands or anything. And the 14ers can go all the way up to class 4 in Colorado. Very difficult 14ers such as Capitol Peak or Sunlight Peak, which most of the time involve lots of scrambling and climbing, and even situations where many people would prefer to use bolts and roping. All right, so the start of this record was by Cleveland McCartney back in 1960. He officially climbed 52 of the 14ers that were recognized back then in 52 days, which was considered quite the feat. Back with the technology in the 1960s, gear was a lot heavier. He did it unassisted, meaning he didn't have a support crew, and he had to somehow get from 14er to 14er as quickly as he could. Meaning most of the time he was actually driving himself. This was quite an incredible feat. But a little bit later, in 1974, so more than a little bit later, about 14 years, the Smith family came into picture. The Smith family, which was their father George and then son Flint, Quade, Cody, and Tyle, actually came through Colorado on their way to complete the 68 14ers that are found in the contiguous United States, so everywhere outside of Alaska and Hawaii. In doing so, they ended up climbing 54 of the recognized Colorado 14ers in 33 days, which is a new official record. They also were the first set of people to add rules to the Colorado speed climbing record, such as you have to start 3,000 feet below the first summit that you're going to climb, but then after that, you can do traverses to the different peaks, but then as well on your way down, you need to descend at least 3,000 feet. A few notable people after the Smith family include Steve Boyer in 1976. He set a record of 22 days, so really big improvement off of the 33 days. Then in 1980, Dick Walters set a time of 18 days, 15 hours, and 40 minutes. This is almost a 4-day improvement off the Steve Boyer time. And then again in 1990, Quade and Tyle Smith, the same people from the family in 1974, set a new record all the way to 16 days, 21 hours, and 35 minutes. Personally, this is the end of the unassisted era in the speed climbing. During these times, people didn't have crews and other large groups helping them out. So the first new record that was really using this is in 1993. Jeff Wagner set a new record. He climbed 55 of the 14ers in 14 days and 3 hours. So not only is this a new record by about 20 hours, it also adds a 55th peak to the list, which is Challenger Point, and Challenger Point is not an easy peak. He also was one of the first people to use support crews. So he had people that would drive him from peak to peak after he descended the 3,000 feet. He also had people help him get up in the morning. They'd cook food for him. They'd carry gear for him. This was the start of a new approach to speed running, especially for Wagner, who was an ultra runner. Next record after this was by Rick Trujillo and Ricky Denisick in 1997. They set a new record in 14 days and 16 hours. Actually, sorry, they attempted to break the 14-day barrier, but were unable to. They were a little bit short of the record set in 1993, but during this time the record was very unclear, so they thought they had beaten the record. Unfortunately, they had not. Uh, they were on pace to beat the record, but unfortunately on their last peak, Long's Peak, a nasty storm front came through and delayed them by a couple of hours. So these days we put this on the list just because it's a very important milestone. Then we have a few new record attempts after the 1997 attempt. In 1999, Andrew Hamilton sent the record to complete 55 in 13 days, 22 hours, and 48 minutes. This picture here you can see on the screen is a blizzard from that year in the San Juans, which made it very difficult for Andrew Hamilton to get the record. He was going through snow, even though it was in the middle of summer. But he ended up still getting the record. Then in 2000, Ricky Denisick, the same guy from 1997, ended up setting a new record in 12 days, 15 hours, and 35 minutes. This was a huge achievement because it's another day faster than the record set in 1999. And then another important milestone is set by Danielle Balenguy. She was the first woman to go for the record, and she did a time of 14 days, 14 hours, and 49 minutes, which is still one of the fastest times till today to complete all of those 14ers. All right, this is the third and final era, I believe, of the Colorado 14er speed climbing record. And it came into existence with Teddy Kaiser, who's nicknamed the Cave Dog. The Cave Dog was not the most fit person. He wasn't an ultra runner. He didn't have the most experience on 14ers, but what he did bring to the table was a lot of ingenuity and new ideas. He planned for 2.5 years on how he would climb the 14ers and brought some of the newest routes and the most up-to-date maps that you could possibly have. He spared no expense with coming up with a great team of people to help get him around. Some of these new ingenuities include he used an ATV to get at the Lake Como trailhead, which is about 6 miles. That saved him plenty of time because he doesn't actually have to start climbing Mount Blanca until 3,000 feet from the summit, which means he can get over some of the really rough patches. So here on the screen, you can see that Jeep really trying to get up that road. That's one of the worst approaches in the US for any mountain. Another thing that he did was he created a new route, the San Juans, which included the Crestone Needle, also here on the screen. No one thought it was possible to complete all of these peaks in one day. It was about 6 or 7 peaks in one day. Yet he was able to do it, and that cut a lot of time. So in the summer of late 2000, Teddy Kaiser ended up creating the new record, which stands at 10 days, 20 hours, and 26 minutes, which is incredible. He really saved about 2 days because of his route through the San Juans and some of the new ideas that he brought to the table. This record ended up standing the test of time. It stood for 15 years. And really proved to everyone that the Cave Dog is going to be infamous, one of the best people to ever attempt Colorado 14ers. But like most things, records can't last forever. In 2015, Andrew Hamilton, following similar strategies of Cave Dog, was really rewarded with a new record. He was able to go and do all 56 14ers, so he added a 56th. In under 10 days. He did it in 9 days, 15 hours, and 51 minutes, which is really incredible. And here in this photo, you can see Teddy Kaiser congratulating Andrew Hamilton. And this is the record that still stands today. So many people ask, will there be improvements? Will anyone beat this record? And while I think it is definitely possible, you have to understand the physical limitations and the difficulties that these people face. These records take quite the toll on the body. And Andrew Hamilton himself, he's gone on and completed many other records today, and he holds, I think, about 5 or 6 speed records through different sets of 14ers. He himself is a legend. The mountains are legends, and honestly, I don't expect to see this record to be broken at all within the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to take perfect planning, perfect weather, and just perfect mental fitness to be able to complete these 14ers. Well, I thank you for your time, and I hope you've learned stuff like I did about the Colorado 14er speed climbing record.